Thank you, everybody, for coming back on the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming to you straight from the heart where the talk is real and the vibe is always live, like we always say. Here, serving a slice of everyday life is what RDDC is all about. For any show requests, feedback, or anything under the sun you can think of, come to us at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com and Real Double Dose Channel at yandex.com. That's YANDEX.com. You know the name and you know the game. We're on here today with a wonderful guest expert, and I'm so happy to have this wonderful being on here. I can't stress that enough. I'm excited about this. But until then, you can always find us with the links on all the websites that we have and all the platforms, as we call them, out there too. That's TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Blueberry.com, Spreaker.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, SoundCloud, Deezer, Google Cast, so much more. But Lex, you know how we get down. But without further ado, I want you all to please feel your warming RDDC hearts for our guest expert, Sabrina Osso. And I want to pronounce that a little bit more with strength, but it's just so beautiful. Sabrina Osso. So I'm going to introduce her because she's oh so wonderful. See, got that out there. So Sabrina Osso is founder and CEO of Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, work, and play. And that is definitely a fact. She's a TEDx speaker, domestic violence speaker, real estate agent, and consultant on promoting safety and preventing violence in the workplace, schools, and in places of residence. Combining education and technology, clients can live, their safe lives and bottom lines, period. And that's what we all need, because this is a big, huge issue that we're dealing with in this life. And it's definitely something we could all take a page from, or someone else's page that we have. So I want to welcome Sabrina. How are you, my dear?
Well, thank you so much, Lex, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being on here. It's a blessing, and it's definitely a treat for us. So how did this forte of beauty come in with Oh So Safe? Because that's like a perfect name with the name itself.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it took a lot of work. But I started, I am a victim of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. I like to just say that, as to be an example for others to be on the way to healing. You kind of just have to admit what happened, and
definitely,
so that way you can really make strides in your life. And I'm no stranger to violence. And then as I lived my life, I moved out, and I did the corporate thing for a while, but my calling was dancing. I'm a dancer, a dancer actress, and I designed a one-woman show called Home Sweet Home. And I did a lot of research for that show. It's a one-woman show, and I play different women being abused, and she goes to a good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence, whatever she's living with at home. But it ends very, very strong, very, very empowering. And I realized as I was doing research that, wow, this is really common.
Yeah.
When you're in it, you know you're suffering.
Definitely.
But others people suffering, I couldn't believe the statistics I was finding out, the research, the commonality of it among all sorts of people from all walks of life. And I said, I got to make this into a business. This needs to be a service, so that way I could really impact lives in a good and really an empowering way.
Yes. And you know what? A lot of us, we like to walk around with shades on our eyes, and sometimes it's almost a shameful act to actually admit some of the things that we've been through. And it took me a while to kind of come out and speak about certain things, because when you're in the situation, it almost feels like you are alone. Like you can't really speak about it. And if you do, you feel like, man, maybe it's my fault for being in the situation. And then at the same time, you're looking at it like, well, how many people really are going through the situation who are waiting for the empowerment of you to come out and be able to say something so they can open their power up as well. So yeah, I definitely commend you on even saying and speaking about it and turning that into a mission to where people can come out there and have more of the insights that they need to get out of situations like that itself. So yes, I'm sorry you had to go through that, definitely. And it's a beautiful thing that you're coming out here to say something.
Oh, thank you. Well, I modeled my business where the victim doesn't leave, that it's the abuser that has to leave, and I can talk to you about that more later on, but just to give a little segue, I firmly believe, and we at Osso Safe firmly believe, that once you are in a place of residence, whether that be a townhouse, a co-op, a condo, a single-family home, a multi-family dwelling, whatever your living arrangement is, you should be safe there. When you put that key in the lock, you should not feel like it's hell. You should not feel like you're entering a war zone. It should feel like your sanctuary, because if you're not safe at home, then really, where are you safe?
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's important to really say, look, it's the abuser that is the one that has to leave, and not the victim, not whoever the victim is, whether it be male or female. The children are always the victim, unfortunately. So, but we're trying to flip it. You know, everybody says, oh, well, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just leave? We're looking to actually reverse that, if that makes sense right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it makes perfect sense, because about 2018, my sister unfortunately chose to take her life on my birthday. And it was due to 18 years of all the different domestic violence and stuff she went through with her husband. And at the same time, you know, it was obviously stuff from a deeper core root as well, but he was the main character, and all the vile things I heard that went on after, you know, you find out a lot more stuff afterwards when the person's gone or something happens. And I was looking at it from a perspective of saying every time the police would come or something would happen, they always would remove her from the home for her safety. But he would be sitting there on the couch with his beard, just thinking, la, 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 let's wait till this happens again. And she always had to be removed, going to shelters, different stuff like that. Even though she was, you know, giving her life to being a nurse and dedicating it to take care of people, I felt as though it was, you know, just like you said, it was kind of like, well, why don't you leave? But it's like, well, why should a person with the kids have to go and leave their place of refuge? And, you know, she did stay a couple times, but at the same time, he did break back in, but it wasn't strong enough. It wasn't nearly as strong enough. And seeing him, you know, boast around town right now in the epitome of a life insurance policy that was basically him forcing her into the grave, it kind of makes you just have this nails under your skin. I try not to, but I mean, when I see him, I just, you know, it's like a lot of things that go through my mind where I'm just like, really, really, you know, and my niece and my nephew now are sitting there without their mother. And I'm like, wow, she would have been 39 years old this January 5th if she had given it a little bit more time. But I guess almost 20 years of it, she said, okay, you know, and he's celebrating his 55th birthday. So I'm like, wow, I mean, there's a big difference between how much time a person really feels that they have in that situation. So yeah, definitely, I agree.
Oh wow, Lex, I'm so sorry. Wow, you just really floored me.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. She took her own life, and on your birthday, she suffered a lot. I'm really sorry about that, and I
thank
hope,
you, Sabrina.
He's the one who needed to leave and not come back, and all lives matter, but
yeah, that's true.
In the face of an abuser versus a victim, especially the children, I mean, what are we really saying here? You know,
exactly. Yeah.
Abusers, they need to change, and a lot of the time they don't, and it's better to concentrate on making this a standard condition of residency, not putting the responsibility of safety in the victim's hands. Mm-hmm. It should be in the hands of the landlord. It should be in the property owner. It should be in the workplace. It should be at schools. So that way the burden is not on the victim, because what happens? The wrong person dies. I hate to sound like that.
That is true.
But,
that is true.
You know, it's the wrong person that dies in some manner, whether they take their own life or whether somebody takes it for them.
That's true. That is very true. And, you know, I was actually thinking, I mean, some people might call it harsh. I mean, I'm sorry. I know all you out there who are listening in. I feel as though the person that is menacing is just like a bully. Now, bullies are getting responsibility for kids being smacked in school and unfortunately passing away from a head injury. I think the same thing should apply for those who bully those in domestic situations, to where their lives do get pushed to the edge because they're constantly menacing them. If they're not seeking out some kind of therapy or some kind of help, they help put those people in that place in some way. They should be accountable in some way for their actions, because it's not right to see them sitting there kind of gloating about how much of a wonderful person they are when they help someone live misery and put themselves to a point to where they couldn't hack it anymore. And people say, well, the strength, I said, some people's strength is in their weakness, and some people's weaknesses is in their strength. And some birds aren't meant to be caged. And that's what I let people know, because my whole life from childhood and up, even though my mom made the beautiful life for us, has been, that's all I told my greatest love. You know, he's my best friend of all that. I told him last night, he called me. I was asking him about being in a monogamous relationship, and he goes, you shouldn't have to ask these questions. And I'm like, that's true, but I just wanted to know. And I was like, well, you're the first man that's ever been nice to me. And he said, well, what do you mean you're a beautiful woman? I said, no, really been nice to me. Someone, from the age of knowing what abuse is, from 5 and up, from being to have friends that use you or talk crap. I mean, verbal abuse, physical abuse, everything under the sun I've been through. And I told him, I'm like, you're the first person that's ever came in my life and just was actually a real friend. The only thing you want from me is my friendship and love, and there's nothing else that comes along with it. And it took a lot from my age in this life to actually say that's the first person that came along in my life that didn't need anything but me. And for some reason, the abuse cycle had me running back to the people that always needed something from me and didn't care if I had a loaf of bread, didn't care if my feelings were hurt. They did not care. And it's almost like a sickness to where you're addicted to that kind of conditioning in your mind, and you don't realize it until someone like that or someone in life comes along and opens your eyes to it. So I'm happy you're on this mission, and I'm on the mission with you too, Sabrina. Don't worry. Like, if you need me, I got your back. Don't worry.
Yes. It's like you bring up a lot of good points. One of them being when you come from abuse, it's very hard to trust the good.
Yeah.
And you have to almost retrain yourself to say, wow, wait a minute, this person is good for me. This person is treating me right. Because when you grow up with abuse, you learn everything distorted, it's incorrect, like where you're used to the bad, so you think, and you kind of gravitate to it, whether unconsciously or consciously. It's like automatic, you're on autopilot. So, and when you don't live in that type of unhealthy environment, it feels like unnatural. So you have to consciously say, wow, I'm in a good relationship, whether it be a friendship, a romantic one, whatever it is. And you have to consciously say to yourself, this is good for me. I deserve this. This is what needs to be normal, not the abuse, whatever that is, whether it be physical, sexual, emotional, verbal, or any combination of those. So it's the good that has to feel natural, not the opposite. So
that's true.
I totally understand.
It's almost like a self-sabotage feeling where you're like, oh, this is going great. This looks wonderful, but it does not feel normal. I'm used to the sickness of it. I need to feel some off-putting. Like, this feels too, a hunky-dory TV show, and it's really not. And I tell people the good thing is they always want to call things corny when it's a nice little romantic movie or a person is being completely nice to someone. Oh, it's such a la-la movie. I'm like, no, that's the reality of what we all should be as beings on this earth. It's been so manipulated and so distorted with so much anger, violence, and hatred, and so many things to where someone actually wants someone to be that victim, so they don't feel like more of a victim themselves from the life they live, that it almost becomes like, tag, you're it. And then you're it. Right.
Yes, a kind of a misery loves company type of mentality. Yes, that's why a great portion of what I do with Osso Safe is education. A lot of it, we all have to be educated, and I say we have to practice not being abusive. It's the more I do this work, the more it's very evident to me that it has to be a practice. It's not just one and done. We have to hear it at our kids' schools, we have to hear it in the workplace, and we especially have to hear it in our place of residence, because how you are raised at home, it really is the map or the foundation of everything. So we focus on making home safe, making people safe, practicing safety, not being abusive, so that way everything else falls into place. And it has to be a conscious education. Yes, you need to know the difference between abuse and discipline. You need to know not to fight in front of your children, and if you do fight in front of them, it never crosses the line of abuse. You need to learn what it means to be in a good relationship. These are all things that everybody could benefit from. So a lot of what we do is education. It's half education, half technology, but we all need the education by far, especially young boys, little girls. They are the future. They have the potential to become future victims of future abusers, and we really need to nip it in the bud, so to speak, for lack of a better phrase. The younger, the better.
That is
the
true.
Education, the younger, the better.
That's true. And I like when you said the practice. We have to practice not being abusive. Because I still have to find, even though I despise it with every single bit of me, from the child that was helpless to the adult that still was helpless in different situations. And I look at that and I'm like, I find myself, even with those situations, I'll lose my cool on purpose and I don't even realize it's going on. Or I'll start being verbally mean or rude or something like that in my past. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not practicing exactly what I'm preaching about, what I don't like to happen. And it's good that we do look at how we're conducting ourselves in these situations, like Sabrina just mentioned, in depth, that we have all these educational tools to realize it's not just the abusers abusing us, but we can also become the abuser. So being from a victim standpoint, we can say, well, we're standing up for ourselves and we're making sure we're strong enough not to have this happen again, but we still have to make sure we're not passing on that bad seed in some kind of way.
Right. Yes, very good point. Yes, it's always a constant checking with yourself, and keeping it on the forefront of your mind that I deserve to be in a good relationship. I have to, for example, something that I say to people, I try to give like takeaways. Like I get asked, well, how can we practice not being abusive? Can you give us some tips? And one of them is when we call women and girls bitches, sluts, whores, tramps, sleazes, floozies, bimbos, thots, and all the other lovely titles that are given to us, all of that contributes to home violence. So if we can check ourselves and make sure that we don't label people, though any of those derogatory labels, essentially, or titles, whatever you want to call it, we are actually helping to not be abusive, to decrease home violence. Because when you reduce someone to any one of those labels, you're actually saying, okay, well, they deserve to be raped, or they deserve to be abused, or they deserve to be hit and punched, and
exactly.
So whenever we are, we go to a party, barbecues, holidays, whenever we talk with our friends, and someone walks by and we make a comment, realize what you're saying, because men don't label themselves that way, and so we women, we have to do the same thing. It shouldn't even be a part of our vocabulary. She is sexually active. We'll say that, because men, that's their label. They're studs, or they're bachelors, or and
there is no
derogatory.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lex.
No. I was just yelling in there. They're the player of the year. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so we have to, it's a constant practice, teaching our kids, teaching ourselves, and it is a practice. It's the best way I can put it.
That is true. So what are some of the home, violence statistics that relate to schools, businesses, and properties, and, different stuff that we're already kind of touching base on?
Sure. 1 out of 3 women will be beaten or raped in her lifetime. 1 out of 5 adolescent girls is abused by her boyfriend. 1 out of 7 men is abused. By the end of today, 4 women are killed by their abusive partners,
and
most of them, will be killed after they leave their abusers. On any given day, as many as 20,000 people are seeking refuge at an emergency shelter. There are 2 million incidents of workplace violence that occurs each and every year in the U.S. That comes out to be about 33,000 per week. Wow. And of those, 17 result in a murder.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, my mind is blown right now, Sabrina. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No.
15 million children witness violence in their own homes each and every year. You divide that by 50 states, 50, that comes out to be about 300,000 children per state. And granted, Texas is bigger than New Jersey. New Jersey is bigger than Rhode Island. But okay, so one state has 60,000 and another state has 3 million. You're talking about an exorbitant amount of children that are witnessing violence.
Yes.
About 324,000 pregnant women go into the emergency room not for pregnant-related issues, but for abuse-related injuries. And, I mean, there's many more statistics, but if you look between the lines, if you read between the lines in all of those, the root of that is in the home, where all of those happen in some type of residence for the most part. All of the damage, the injuries, the murders, I know in my own house, I mean, my father beat my mother on a regular basis. It usually happened in the kitchen, in the living room, in the hallway, and then in the bathroom. So it's in some type of residence, and it all stems from the home. If we can concentrate more on making home safe, then I think the workplaces will become safe, schools will become safe, there'll be a lot less shootings in schools and universities. If you trace back all of the school shooters and go to their home life, it's hell. It's usually just inundated with violence, with altercations, with chaos, with dysfunction. So this is why we are very adamant at Osso Safe to make homes we really need like radical changes, and that's what we're doing at Osso Safe. I mean, I could go on and on with statistics, but those are the ones that I have off the top of my head.
Wow, that blew my mind. I'm surprised I'm even able to speak right now. I mean, I figured it in my mind, and those out there who are tuning in, yes, we figured it, but I mean, that is really a slap in the face. I mean, to really get a clear perspective of it. And also now I see more of the merging, because I think I had an episode called The Ripple Effect. And I was saying, even though like the 1 equals 1 million perspective is still the same thing when it comes to the ripple effect, because I said, if a person has home, and all of a sudden they see someone bullying them at home, and that bully's only bullying them because they had such a bad night at home with their parents. Now, essentially, that kid goes home, starts drama with his mom starts yelling at the dad slaps the mom in return, and she yells at the son, and the cycle just continues, and eventually you have one of those kids going to school with a gun in their hand. Eventually you have someone going to a workspace that's just pissed off at their computer not working, or a colleague just wanting to harass them that day, and then all heck breaks loose, and there's 20, 30 people gone in an instant from what one person may have done in that instant. And that's wow. I mean, like, my mind is flabbergasted right now. And when I'm talking back on what I was saying about my dearest love, my truest best friend, it's amazing, because you reminded me of that, Sabrina, because he was telling me like a few days ago, he was like, yeah, my stepdad, he's gone now. He passed in 2015, but I'm kind of happy. And I'm like, okay, I understand stepdad, stepmom thing kind of. He's like, no, it's just more the fact that I saw him try to beat up on my mom so many times, and one day I just got tired of it and I beat up on him. So when I look at that, and I look at the other people who say, well, I come from a abusive family, and this is why I treat you like this. This has happened. I talk to you like this because I saw my dad, knock my mom's teeth out. I saw that, and I'm like, yeah. But then he and a lot of other people too, but it shows me change can happen, because he got a chance to take himself from that mind state and say, hey, I'm not going to treat another person like that. And from a person who came from a whole entire line as well of abuse, to have someone who dealt with abuse and having his rib cage cracked and so much more, is kind of like, wow, that can still be change out there. Because if you have two abused and people who have dealt with that can come together and say, hey, I don't want to make sure I put another indent in life to make sure I'm abusing someone else, it definitely shows that Osso Safe and different ones like that on the mission they are, it's putting a great seed out there for those to change and have that whole inner rehabilitation, to have that.
Right. You bring up bullying, and I had forgotten to say bullying is just another form of abuse, and you gave a good example. It's the cycle, right? It happens at home. It starts at home, and then you take out your rage on school, professors, teachers, other students, and it's a continuous cycle. Our job, especially as victims of violence, former victims of violence, survivors, our job is to indeed break the cycle. We could always give the excuse, yes, okay, my father beat on my mother beats on my father, or I was sexually abused, or I was beaten, and then say, this is why I do this to you. That's not an excuse. No. That is not okay. That is not permissible. Your job as a victim or a former victim is to break the cycle, to make sure that you do not repeat the same mistakes, because otherwise you are no better than him or her. And we are big proponents of therapy at Osso Safe. There is no shame in getting help. The shame is when you don't get help. So, and I know it's hard. It took me a while for me to to walk down those stairs at my university at the time and go to therapy. It was very hard. You have all of these thoughts like, oh, what if somebody sees me? What are people going to say? This is going to be useless. I'm not the problem. My parents are the problem. This is stupid. Whatever thoughts come into your head. And at the time, I couldn't even use the excuse as money because it was free. I was on college campus and they offered psychological services for free. But I made myself go. I said, let me just try it once. And it was very hard, very, very hard. And I felt like I thought, okay, I'm going to go to therapy once and then all my problems will be solved. And that did not happen at all. But I realized though, and I'm hoping that this will help all of your listeners, that you go to therapy, and if there's one thing that I remember when I left therapy, each session, every time I left the session, I felt a little less heavy. And that made all the difference for me, because as a victim, you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, literally. I mean, you're so, it gets very complicated. You got mom and dad and your siblings, or if you're an only child, it really doesn't matter. And you're just, you can't think about what it is that you want to do with your life because you're fighting a war in your own house every single day. And, but every time I left a therapy session, I felt a little less heavy, like a rock was removed off of my shoulders, and this piece of the boulder was removed. And so it's kind of like peeling the layers of an onion. And I would say to your viewers that not all therapists are created equal. So you might have to go through a few of them to find the right fit. But don't let that discourage you. Yeah. So you may have to go and try one or two, three people. If you're a guy, maybe you'll do better with a female or a male therapist, or vice versa if you're female. But don't give up, because the therapy will make you realize things. It will make you aware. And that's when change happens and you're conscious of things that were unconscious in your life. And then you make changes automatically. So,
that's true.
So I'm glad you brought that up with the cycle and bullying, and you touched upon therapy as well.
Well, I mean, it feels like, excuse me, it feels like it is a therapeutic session right now, because to be able, and I tell people when they talk about, some of the people go by Alcohol Anonymous, different things, and I say, well, you might look at it like, oh, this is a group, I don't want to talk about kumbaya, but even in this moment, whoever is definitely resonating, I can guarantee at least a good 70% of you all can resonate with what this conversation is having, and is having a clarity moment, like Sabrina was saying, and that therapeutic moment is right here as well, talking about this and also safe, because we get a chance to really look and define the chapters of our lives and start seeing things from a different perspective. I remember, I think it was yesterday, I had passed by Walgreens to grab some photos, and I saw a gentleman on the corner with the homeless sign, and someone had threw something at him. For some reason, every time I see someone, it's not the point of just wanting to go out and become a Samaritan and say, oh, I gave someone $5. It was the point that I see myself in every person. But those out there who are going through something a little bit more extra, that show it for face value, it's like I can actually see a portrait of myself. And it could have been a person just standing there eating ice cream, and I still would have saw a portrait of myself. So it definitely is one of those namesakes to where we have to come together to understand a voice speaks a lot louder when you speak all together. And a fist, a hand open, all the fingers are separated, but when you close it and make a fist, it's so much stronger. And that's exactly what the perception and the beauty of being vocal about what's going on helps, because so many things, they still keep it in the family. Or don't talk about the business. Just keep it right here. You don't know what's going to happen. And we get scared of, some people get scared of DPS, different things happening, but then they grow up saying, I wish someone would have stepped in. But sometimes it's up to us to make sure someone steps in. And at the end of the day, there's all kinds of protocols, and Osso Safe being one of those places out there, you have a backing to really back you up without feeling like you are the person that's, is the victim, and trying to move yourself to the person that's the hero of your own story. But Sabrina, I want to ask you, what is Osso Safe's vision for the prevention of home violence and the real estate industry itself?
Yes, thank you for asking that. As I've been saying, or we've been saying throughout this interview, real estate is usually the crimes that happen, or the unrest, the conflict. It always happens some type of residence. And I have been saying with Osso Safe, we need radical changes in the real estate industry, where we make it a standard condition of residency in order for people to be non-abusive. We actually are selling, or we offer landlords and tenants the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package, and it's a package that contains a policy, a seminar, and the app. And the policy is basically an addendum to existing leases, where it states on there all definitions of abuse, and it basically says, I as the landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You in turn as my tenant, you promise to not act in any way, shape, or form that is abusive. Otherwise, you, the tenant, gets immediately evicted from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. Wow. And everybody signs it. And then in the seminar, we go over the policy, and in a seminar, we go over facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, what constitutes a good relationship. And we do this as a blanket education. We don't single anyone out. So it's kind of like, let's say a landlord has a multifamily dwelling of like 100 people, 50 people, 25 people. We give a class because the landlord hired us to educate everyone, and everybody signs the policy, everyone gets educated, and that way everybody's on the same page. It becomes a standard condition of residency, and we're introducing this into the market as Get Your Properties Osso Safe Certified, which means they are home violence conscious, and when people see our logo outside of a property, you know as a tenant or a prospective tenant, wow, I would rather live there because they have provisions in case any violence happens. They have systems in place. Everybody gets educated, and I feel safer in a place that is Osso Safe certified versus a place that isn't. So we're moving the real estate industry in this direction. I am speaking to people, and if any of your listeners have any recommendations for me to speak to, maybe anybody else that they know that's in the real estate industry, but we're looking to make this a standard, because I know growing up, I can tell you from personal experience, if my father, if there was a policy that was signed, because that way the responsibility of safety wasn't on my mother. It's the landlord, it's the property owner, the property manager. Well, then we're talking about a whole different set of rules, and then the power of the abuser diminishes greatly, because then you're making it a standard condition of residency. And maybe my father would not have put his hands on my mother. Instead of 100 times, maybe he'll put it. He would do it 50 times or 25 times. Or maybe none at all, because this acts as a deterrent, and then he knows, wow, I'll get evicted if I hit her, if I'm abusive, and that's what we need. This is what we're promoting, that we're implementing, and really getting it out there.
Yeah, that is true. And I have quite a few real estate friends myself, and I was actually looking into that more so, doing some eco developments myself, and I was thinking about having a landlord contract and different ones. That's actually going to be something that I do have on the future buildings that I'm going to look forward to coming this 2021. So I'm a game, and I'm signing up for that to be on the building or whatever else, because I will definitely tell my tenants, hey, this is what it is, and if I have to personally come to the door and knock myself, that's what'll have to happen, because it's not gonna, behind closed doors, so many things happen, and that's the problem. So many things are behind closed doors, but they always just come flooding out that door inside of every person behind that door. So it really isn't behind closed doors or keep it a hush hush, because ultimately it still follows us out here and spills out on all the innocent ones, or all the ones who are seemingly not even knowing what's going on whatsoever. Definitely, Sabrina, I agree with that 1,000,000%. So what are some takeaways that you can do to help us, or help all of us out there, promote safety and prevent home violence?
Yes, one of them I mentioned the not calling women and girls bitches, sluts, whores, tramps, sleazes, flues, bimbos, dots, and all the other lovely titles that are given to us. I can't stress that enough. That is a big one. The second one would be pornography. And I mean, I could do a whole interview just on that itself. And this is not about sexual freedom. I am all for sexual freedom, but pornography is 88.2% physical aggression towards women.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to refrain from giving pornography to our boys, our sons, our nephews, our grandsons, the sons, nephews, and grandsons of our friends, because essentially we are teaching them how to sexually assault girls when they become of dating age. So I would say that's a second takeaway. The third takeaway is therapy. As I mentioned, the therapy is it's a big healer, whether it be group, whether it be individual, whether it be, and if you don't have the money, I wanted to mention, if you don't have the money, because I know therapy gets expensive, if you go to your local religious affiliation, whatever that may be, you don't have to be Jewish or Catholic or whatever your religious affiliation is, if you go to your local church, synagogue, temple, a lot of the time they offer free counseling, free therapy, and as we say, any therapy is better than no therapy. I would say the fourth takeaway is never ever ever fight in front of your children. That is another big one. Find the time. I know things get heated. You disagree with your partner. You're going to yell. There's going to be just disagreements. But find the time when you have to quote unquote duke it out, and I don't mean physically by any means, but when you have to really talk things through, have the kids go to grandma, grandpa, an aunt, an uncle, a trusted friend, have them when during school, coordinate your lunches together, something, and that way you can discuss it, even if it becomes yelling, because all couples yell, obviously, all couples fight, but never ever ever, it needs to never ever cross the line of abuse, of verbal, physical, sexual, emotional, never ever ever. And know what a good relationship is. I would say that would be the fifth takeaway. Know that you deserve it. Know that it's a partnership. There's no one dominating anyone. There's no ruler. There's no me monster. There is no, it's a partnership. That's the best way I could put it. And that's a healthy relationship. And you have that right. Everyone has that right to a healthy relationship. So I hope I provided some hands-on takeaways that people could just put into practice right now, to practice being safe and non-abusive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got maybe about 35 takeaways. So, over the course of this, yeah, I mean, because honestly, I mean, I'm really wanting to get into this. I know you have, oh man, my brain is circulating with so many wonderful things, Sabrina. You have no idea what's on my mind, because oh man, we need to talk off air too. Don't worry. So we're gonna have some conversation. Yeah, but we have, I mean, like the whole mission. Oh my goodness, I'm just flabbergasted in a great way, because it hits exactly every field that I've been trying to tap into and have tapped into. But I look at that and I'm like, that's a great understanding of knowing everything that's going on with that itself and being able to have all those protocols put into place. I mean, so do you have anything, has heard about the mobile app? Is it also mobile app?
The Osso Safe mobile app, yes, that's the technology portion of the Home Sweet Home package. It's an app that I created. I hired a software company to carry out my specifications, but it's an app that detects violent-like movements and captures them in real time, issuing alerts either via email, text, or by push notification, in which you will receive a 30-second video of the actual violent-like movement. So, for example, you're a landlord, you have 20 units, and you get the app installed in your units. Let's say in the common area, like in the kitchen, in the living room, or in the family room, and you get an alert. Wow, I just saw my tenants in unit, let's say 5 and 16. He just beat the crap out of her, or she just beat the crap out of him, or I just saw of kids punched in the face, you get the alert, and this is automatically grounds for eviction because they signed the policy, they went through the seminar, we foster a culture, an environment of safety. Gotta go. And there's the waiver that you signed, so you know that this is what is going to happen to you. You, the abuser, needs to go. And the rent family stays, provided that they could still rent, obviously. But this will remove the responsibility of safety out of the victim's hands. And what we're doing is we are gearing the landlords to have incentives where, because they're taking steps to actually make their properties or their tenants safe, they are financially rewarded because their property is going to be worth more because it is Osso Safe certified. Their insurance rates will go down because they have their properties Osso Safe certified, and tenants will probably want to pay a little bit more per month for their rent because they want to live in a place that is Osso Safe certified versus one that isn't. And this is by combining education and technology. I do have it on my website, and it is this is fairly new, but I have a 2-family in East Orange, New Jersey that is Osso Safe certified, and it's working out very well. The landlord, my landlord client, lives upstairs. He has tenants downstairs, and he said, Sabrina, whatever it is that I gotta do, just tell me. I'll have the policy signed. We'll do the seminar. We'll get the technology installed, and because I live upstairs with my toddler, I don't want any problems. I don't want police coming to my residence and chaos and violence and yelling and screaming, and it's been working out well. So we're really working hard to make this, like I said, a standard condition of residency, because I feel that this should be automatic. It should be a given. You know, you have the right to be safe in your own home, period, over and out.
That is very, very, very humbling. And it is very true. RDC families and those who are tuning in new, it is beyond measurement, and it is beyond being able to touch the world in a different way. And a lot of people will come and reach out and say, hey, RDC team or Lex, how can I be more, into the helping of my next door neighbor or my fellow colleague or my fellow friend? It's more than just sitting there saying we want to do something. We have to be about the action behind what we do. Now, some of us might be able to do it right away. We might 6 months, 6 days, you never know. But at least you're putting a conscious effort forward. And that's all that matters, is being able to move forward and start doing these things that we have to do. And it's people like angels, I call her, Sabrina Osso, that's putting her foot out there and actually opening doors for things like this to exist. So the idea of everything out there is an idea itself, and someone wanted to change that in a valuable way. And if we put more of a spotlight on things in this nature, which are very pertinent for survival and vitality in life itself, I mean, a part of life itself, this to me is like an extension of breathing. We will have more things given. I mean, some people want to put more of their attention in their direction on a TV show or the Super Bowl, don't get me wrong, but when it comes down to it, when those things are over with and done, we have to come back to our own realities and the realities that other people are creating, whether negative or positive. So that's why, and you know what, Sabrina, I think we're going to have another episode about this pornography and violence, because this is something that really hit me. I mean, I hope you do come back on here with us, because we could really get into some conversations here. We could really do it. We could really, really do it. So is there anything that you want to leave the RDC or the families or the people tuning in, any last words for now, to go on the show at all before we exit here?
Yes. Know that if you're going through violence in any capacity, know that it's not your fault. You're not alone. Things will get better. Please check out my website. It has a lot of good information. Document your abuse, absolutely, especially as soon as it happens. Do it as soon as it happens, because the more time that passes, details start to fall away, and then you don't remember what happened where and when. And to really consider inviting us to your kids' schools, universities, workplaces, and your place of residence. This has to be on the mainstream. Enough is enough. I don't believe in treating this as a charity, as a nonprofit. I do respect all of the charities and nonprofits and the shelters that deal with home violence, but I think we could do a lot more. And by having this as a service, on the real estate level in a very big way. So, and I thank you for this opportunity. Like I thank you for your positive feedback, and
Oh, definitely.
I think it'll catch on. I think it'll catch on.
Oh, it will. And you know what? By the time we have our next episode together, Sabrina, it's gonna catch on. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm so hungry for this. Conversation, because it's something that I feel it already resonating with those who are listening, and that's how powerful it really is. And it was powerful, and it was by the grace of the Creator, like I always say, that we're on here speaking about this today, because whatever ripple effect we just did, that 1 equals 1 million, was profounded and established even more so today and this moment. And whenever this airs again, for everyone that's downloading and tuning in, whatever time you do, it's still something you can go back to and say, man, this right here is something I could really hold on to. And don't be afraid to reach out. So this is our wonderful and amazing guest expert, Sabrina Osso. And you can definitely find out more information at www.ossosafe.com. That's OSSO safe, SAFE.com, as well as her information on there. And you can also check it out at the realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com, where we have the wonderful postings of the guest experts. And Sabrina's page will be right up on there, so you can find any information, any links you can. And you can also just reach out to us too if you want any extra information. If you can't find it there, which you should, you could always find it out there, period. So we just appreciate everyone. We definitely are appreciative. And thank you, Sabrina, for coming on here to share this vital information with us, because I feel oh so safe right now, being able to have a protocol in my mind for more things that come along, because you never know when it's right around the corner from what's going on. But also, I just want to say, be the change, feel the passion, embrace the power of that wonderful spirit. You've been amazing. Keep tuning in, and we'll be back with you very, very, very soon.